Hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, I am thrilled to have you join us. Thank you very much. In today's video, we're going to dive right into it. Summer deadline day transfer window. We're going to talk about Chelsea Football Club, the summer transfer window overview, new signings, departures, squad dynamics, and then sort of looking ahead to what the team might look like going forward. So we'll sort of discuss a couple of those items. A lot of things have happened. So yeah, thank you for joining the channel. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss out. As we're getting started on this new channel, we'll try to upload more content as much as we can. So yeah, let's dive right in. First, I want to say, it's been a big summer for Chelsea Football Club. We've won the Club World Cup, and here in America, that was very exciting. I've attended one of the games, and it was very fun. Even though the Brazilian fans were a lot more hyped than we were. It was the one game that I went to was one of the games we lost, so that was not fun. But beyond that, it was a very good tournament for us, and to beat one of the best clubs in the world, Champions League champions, at their best, they were only missing one defender, was very exciting. And I thought, okay, we've just won this. It means that we can beat any team. Let's go ahead and we've got a month and a half left of the summer window. Let's go build on that. Let's go buy the right players, and challenge for the title in the Champions League and all the cups next season. And I've got to say, it's been disappointing so far. It's been a very disappointing summer after the Club World Cup. Going into the Club World Cup, Delap, Pedro, exciting. Gittins, exciting. Like, we're doing all the right things. Win the World Cup, like, okay, let's go. What are we missing now? We fixed coming out of the that last season, right? I mean, we were one loss or one tie away from not making any Champions League and our season being a failure. But we're here now, right? We're coming out of it. Like, okay, what are some of the things we could improve on and use the summer window to improve the team? First would have been, I would say the first thing we need to fix is a striker. We saw how heavily reliant we were on Jackson, so bringing in a striker would have been crucial. Now, I've got to say, Delap was supposed to be is more of like of a 10, maybe coming off the left wing, sitting in those 2-10 roles. That's sort of what I envisioned. I didn't think of him as a striker, and I don't think the manager did as well. Delap, absolutely. If we're going into closing of the summer window, saying we'll have Delap, Jackson, and then maybe João Pedro as a backup in that role while he plays in the 10, I would have been excited. But we saw the rumors with what's going on with Jackson. I wish him all the best of luck. There was some bad blood there. Some of the stuff he did, some of the stuff the club has done to him. But I'm glad that's behind us. But there's an opportunity. This could come back to haunt us next season. We'll come back to that. But that was one of the key things. We bought a striker, but then we ended up sort of ruining it by selling the other striker that was here. Then you've got the 10, the 2-10s. I thought that was maybe a role that, Cole Palmer was our main primary sort of player that was producing and creativity. And we did need another outlet there, either from the left wing or from an attacking mid. It didn't matter where it was coming from. We needed another player that could produce a bit of magic and create for the team. It could have been Jamie Simmons. It could have been Fermin Lopez. Sort of all fell out. But I thought João Pedro was good for that role. And for the last two games, while Palmer was out, he's done a great job, right? Along Stavio Willian, who can also play in that role as well. Now, left wing, I've got to say, that was one of the roles that we did need to fill. I felt with Mudryk, Mudryk's ban and not playing anymore, whatever's going on there. Losing Sancho, right? I think it was right to part ways. And then also George been rumored to sort of either get some loan or he deserves more game time. So leaving the team on loan or permanent would have been sort of, yeah, okay, this is a space that we will need to fill. Now we've brought in Gittins that I'm like, okay, great, that's a backfill for either Sancho or Mudryk. So great, we still need a starting winger, the actual Sancho replacement. And then we're bringing in Garnacho on deadline day. I don't know what to make of that, right? We needed, in order to build on winning the Club World Cup, make a statement signing that says we can win the Premier League, Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. We needed that, that signing, and that felt like, if we kept Jackson, that signing would be somewhere in the left mid or left wing, whatever it was, right? A Rodrigo, a Leao, even a Semenyo from Bournemouth. It's exciting talent would have been great. Now, that hasn't happened, and we've signed Garnacho, who I think, right, he's a great player. I'm sorry, he's a good player. He's a good player. I think he can do well. But he just, his end product wasn't there. And maybe that's something he could improve on. He is young. He can develop. I'm not going to sit here and shag him off. I think he can do something. On his day, he can do something. But we've have two players that need to develop on that left wing. And, the mindset coming out of the Club World Cup should have been we're going to go to win, not here's another player that we're going to buy for, somewhere between 20 and 50 mil and then try to sell on for a $5-10 million profit 2-3 seasons from now. That's not what I expected coming out of the Club World Cup. But here we are. So that's the other role. And then I would say the midfield, we did need some depth. Lavia keeps getting injured. We don't know what that would look like. Reece James sometimes plays in the midfield, although I prefer him to play in his rightful position. So we needed some depth there. Losing Conor Gallagher the season before, going into this season, I felt like a little short there. And Caicedo, Enzo, with how we were rotating for the Conference League, we thought, okay, maybe we can get away with that. But now they're gonna have to play most of the games, and we needed backups there, right? And we sold KDH, so I think Dario is probably the replacement there for him. And then Santos is the backup to Enzo, I believe. I don't unless Caicedo is injured. I don't see from what I've seen from the manager, I don't see Santos dropping or Enzo dropping for Santos just quite yet. But there's an opportunity. There's a chance for that to happen down the road. I think from what I've seen, he's a good player and he has an eye for goal. All the things Enzo has been doing. And I think Enzo, for what he brings to the team, I don't think he can be dropped just quite yet. Okay. I went straight. I mean, I could look into Fabrizio, but Bobby, from what I've seen, does a pretty good job of communicating. Chelsea news, what's going on. So I always get tuned in to hit what he's got cooking. First one here, Tyreek George. I've got to say this is a little bit of a disappointment. I was hoping Tyreek would get some minutes elsewhere. Permanent deal just means it's a way for Blue Coat to sort of balance the books. So a little disappointed to see that hasn't went through. I was hoping he'd go on loan somewhere either to Roma or somewhere in the Premier League or Champions League. Championship. So I will have to see what this looks like going into the season. I didn't want to hinder his development anymore. I think he's a player. Clearly, the management felt like Garnacho Gittins or what they want on the left side, meaning that he was the more likely piece to move. I would have preferred to keep him instead of reloaning Gui, but I could understand why that was happening. And speaking on Mark Gui to Sunderland, I think regardless of the injury to Delap, it felt more and more like he was going to be. He needed to be the loan needed to be canceled because I don't know if he would have started over Isidore and the other starting striker over at Sunderland. It just didn't feel like that. So I was hoping he'd get cancel the loan, send him out to championship somewhere like Ipswich would have been a good location for him, like almost like for like the replacement for Delap. But that hasn't happened. We'll have to see what this all means now that the transfer window is closed. But I am very disappointed in this. I think Tyreek would have been a good backup in that striker role. And when he came um, on the game against Fulham, I thought for what he had to do, he was doing okay. Like I'm not gonna say he was great, but he wasn't extremely bad. He came in, did a job. He defended. He held up the ball, produced some stress. So it was good to see that. And I'm always a big fan of the Cobham youth system. They produce very good talent. So very very disappointed to see this. And you think about the greater picture of all of this and what this means for other folks that are in the academy, right? And Josh and what he's thinking about all of this and all the other ones. And then you hear about what's going on with Rio over at Liverpool and great awesome things he's doing there, and it kind of worries you. It's something to keep an eye on as this blue coat thing kind of plays out. Very interested to see what that looks like. There's a lot of talent in London. Cupham produces very good talent from that area, and if you're opting out for these folks that you're buying from overseas, whatnot, when you have players that can do a job from Cupham, it's kind of worrisome. But let's move on from there. Yep, Mark Gibby got recalled, so it's needed to happen. I feel like he wouldn't get a start there. Ben Chilwell to Strasbourg. I wonder what the UCL accountants are going to do here, because this feels like a financial movement here, maybe a master chess plan from Chelsea. I'm not sure. I've been a big fan of Chilwell. I think he's an awesome guy to have in the locker room, and when he's needed, he's done a good job on the pitch. Problem is, just like Reece James, Fofana, Lavia, his availability and for the wages that he's on, I think that plays a factor into having looking to offload him. And if he's moved to Strasbourg to take less less wages so he can get some game time, kudos to him. I was hoping he'd move on, away from this Pluco system and go produce elsewhere. And if he's taking a paycheck, I'm certain some other teams would have been in for him as well. So, but either way, I think this is good for the Strasbourg manager to have some sort of leadership there, and he plays with wing back, so this is very good. I think with Bakwa going to Nottingham Forest, I'm hoping this brings in that wide option that would create the goals and assists that will be missed for Strasbourg from Bakwa. So we'll have to see what this looks like. So the accounting pieces with ISS going to Swansea, bought from Chelsea, for some sort of money to move the books, and then loaned out just so we could move Chilwell there. That's where we'll have to see what that accountants say about that. We're already under pressure, but we'll have to see. This one here, I don't understand it, but I mean, $2 million loan for somebody that potentially maybe, I don't know, maybe it's going back to what I was saying earlier, maybe Dario came in to be a backup for Reece because Lively's always injured. This could be potentially the KDH replacement. Just saying, hey, we need somebody as an attacking mid available, and especially with Cole Palmer, we don't know how long the injury is. And Cole Palmer will play Champions League nights, so maybe this is a talent like that. But just seeing going from Fermin Lopez, Javi Simmons to Bonanate, I don't understand it. But let's see. It's one of those things where Bluco has made a lot of mistakes, a lot of good things as well. We need to give him. We'll have to give him some time to see how this all plays out. Obviously, we've seen enough to call out the bullshit, but here we are. So, okay, let's move on. What else do we have? Jackson, the price, the loan fee, great. I think it's one of the highest loan fees out there, if not the highest. He's 24 years old. I feel like this is a case of Bayern Munich next season. Thinking about next season, Kane might potentially come back to the Premier League or go to Barcelona after the World Cup. Good chance they might lose Olise to Liverpool if they come calling. So this is maybe an opportunity for them to start preparing for those departures. I think Jackson will do very well in the Bayern Munich and in the Bundesliga. The question is, can we get the amount of games the obligation will get kicked on. We'll have to see. Kane sometimes can be injury prone, so we'll have to see what happens there. Maybe he'll play on the left wing, since Gnabry also is a very injury prone player. But overall, I'm glad that there's a route here for Jackson. I don't know if the relationship could have been repaired. Let's see what else we have. I got to say, we got to keep an eye on all these agent-led transfers. Some journalists out there will do that investigation. We'll be there when that happens. This one here, this is a player we haven't heard about for almost a year and a half. Good for him. He's not ready. It looks like he's probably out for another couple of months. I mean, this was a good amount of money, I believe, for the deal that we got for Maatsen. So, I mean, that was some money, right? He cost more than Viega. So let's see. I wish him the best. Was an exciting player from what I've seen. We'll have to see what comes out of that. What else do we have? A lot of Garnacho. Like I said, I think we'll give him an opportunity. We'll give him a chance to see what he does. I think he's an electric, exciting player. It's just the end product that I worry about. If you had to compare, right, we got rid of Madueke, brought in Garnacho for maybe $10 million less. On the books, looks great, especially since we have Estavio Neto on that right side. So, it made sense, but it had to be between Gittins and Garnacho. I don't think we needed both. I think we needed an upgrade. A Barcola, a Rodrigo, a Semenyo would have been the option that would have pushed us on to win the league. Now I'm going to go into a little bit about the formations. Full discrepancy. This is from what I've seen so far. This is what we have, and I'm gonna add George here just because I think. Well, let's not put him in the striker role. Let's put him next to Gittins here. I cannot spell. So what we have here is ideally, I would have the one signing that I'm really disappointed with this summer has been I really wanted Higo Ekitike. I think he's an awesome player, exciting player. Can be clumsy, but he scores goals. He can strike the ball, scores goals. That's who we really needed to sign. And for that price point, I know, but I think right, not buying Gittins or Garnacho, or some of these other players, and buying Ekitike would have been an icing on the cake. That would have driven us to the season. But now, we got João Pedro, who might have been potentially coming in as a 10, being our top striker, Delap out injured, and then Gubi. This is just not good. If Jackson was here, I would have been okay. We've got a good rotation here. But what I'm seeing right now, I don't know. We seem not very underwhelming. Not enough here. On the left wing, I think Garnacho is a starter over Gittins just because he's got Premier League proven, pen proven they call it. Gittins George is a backup. It's decent. It's meh. It'll do a job. Enzo Santos, I think these two will direct. They can play together if Palmer or Caicedo goes off for James. But I think they'll play in that 2-10s role alongside Palmer and Bonanate. Sometimes Estavio can play as a backup here. We'll have to see what that looks like. Neto, Estavio, and then I think Gusto also playing on that right wing is something. I put him there because he mostly is going up and down. I'd like to see more of Gusto in that role, not in the middle at all, just because he's got the pace and also the stamina to play full game. So I want to keep him away from the defensive line as much as we can. He doesn't defend very well. He gets lucky sometimes, and he's very rash on his tackles. Things that I was disappointed about Viega about. Caicedo Dario, just solid backup here. Reece James and Lavia, I think, is one or the other. If James is healthy, he'll start. If Lavia will start. We'll have to see what this looks like. If I envision this is how Maresca would like to play. We'll go into that in a little bit. Cucurella, Hato. If you haven't seen me on this channel before, first time here, I'm not a very big fan of Cucurella. I think he makes the team a little worse. He has his goals here and there, but I think he blocks passing lanes. He is very poor going forward. He gets a couple of headers and that, but I don't think I'm not a fan. I think that is a player that's hindering us. And maybe we'll see this season what that would look like if we play Champions League. So we'll have to see that. Hato, I'm not. I haven't watched it. Fairly highly weighted. Just good to have a backup. Immediately better than Viega for me because Viega was just awful. In the middle, Colwell out for the season. I think Buddy Ashili is one of my favorite center backs at the club. When he's playing on that left side, and he's healthy and has the confidence, he's probably top 3 center backs at the club. Glad to have him there. I think he's also probably a better starter than Tosin for me. If they're both healthy, I would start Buddy Ashili. Fofana, I think, is the best center back at the club, but he's not always healthy and fit. So we'll have to see what that looks like. That's why I've got, Chalaba and Josh as a backup there. Chalaba is somebody that I think is a decent center back, good role player, has been very professional. So Sanchez Jurgensen are 2 options at goalkeeper. And I'm not. It's okay. It is what it is. Sanchez is here to play. We'll take it. My best 11 for any game, if everybody's healthy, I would say I like having Delap up top. I wish it was Ekitike, but it is what it is. I think the pressure he puts on defenders, opportunities, I think he will score. So I would keep him up there. And the reason why is I like to see Palmer, João Pedro in the 210s. And then, to offset, right, we've got very heavy attacking here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You could put, a Stavio here, or, you could put Neto on the right side and put Gittins here. But that would be, for me, just too much attacking. You got to have some balance on the team, depending on who we're playing. If there's low blocks, you can see Gusto coming off, Neto on the right side, maybe Gittins, Garnacho on the right. But when you're playing against good teams, you want to play with Gusto just so you have that extra cover on defense. And I think Palmer, Pedro, and Delap can do damage, and Neto crossing it in for Delap. Midfield here, Caicedo, solid starter. I would take either Enzo or Santos here, depending on if João Pedro is starting. Maybe I would start Santos just because defensively better player than Enzo. But if Pedro is not playing, I would put Enzo up here as a 210. For me, I would prefer to have Buddy Ashili as that left back, left center back, Colwell as that center back, and then James or Fofana on the right. Since they both get injured a lot, one or the other. I think that gives you the height that you need, the defensive structure that you need to do well there. And then Sanchez is probably a better goalkeeper at the moment. My thoughts on how Maresca would line up. I think he would play João Pedro up top if Palmer and Enzo are available, because it's a no-brainer for him. I think he probably has Garnacho over Gittins, so he'll probably play that. And I think Neto or Stavio here, depending on the team we're playing. We might see Gusto here. Even though I'm not a fan of Cucurella, he will absolutely play Cucurella. Caicedo. And then on the left, depending on who's healthy at the moment, Chalaba is, so he'll start there. I don't have Cole here because he's going to be out for a long time. So Fofana, Tosin for now, and then James Gusto on that right center back or right mid, depending on if Cucurella drops. Our backups, not bad, honestly. So Carabao Cup, FA Cup, some Champions League games, depending on who we're playing. And Delap Guy, underwhelming, I would say, as a backups. Gittins Garnacho, Gittins playing in that as a backup. Santos, Buonanotte, Stavio, Veneto when it comes to that second team. Hato, Sada Cucurella, and then Lavia or Dario, depending on who's healthy. I think Lavia starts if he's healthy. Buddy Ashili, Tosin, and Josh, and then Gusto Jurgensen. So, yeah. Thank you all for listening in. It's been a very underwhelming, very disappointing summer. We'll have to see how the season plays out. Keep an eye on any injuries. A lot of our players are going out on loan. On international. So we'll have to see what that looks like. Honestly, just underwhelming. I don't know. This was an opportunity for us to go out there and win and build on that Club World Cup winning form. And it just feels like we haven't done enough. And maybe there's PSR, maybe there's whatever. But then you look at what we're buying, and you're like, you look at what Isaac, Ekatike, Wirtz. Yes, they haven't spent in a lot of summers, but if you take a look at how much Blue Cross spent and what we're producing, it almost feels like a financial accounting business wins, like Danny Levy then putting together a football team. And I get it, buy young, sell players, but you don't have to do that every time. You've got to win with what you have, and we are here. So please like, comment, subscribe. I will do more of these. I'll do another one as soon as the window from all the different leagues close, just to see what we're left with. I'd like to talk about, take a look at the team, how many players that we have, and who's on the bomb squad that's still remaining. I think we still have Sterling. They put George in the bomb squad because they want him gone. They put Chilwell is gone. Disasi's still there. Dacho Fofana. There's quite a few that we're trying to get rid of, and we haven't yet. So we'll have to see how those play out. But thank you all for joining, and see you in the next video.